Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Design & Style 2 podcast, a podcast for decorating enthusiasts and savvy DIYers. And we are your co-hosts, Rachel Moriarty and the lovely
Dixie Willard. I almost forgot my own name for a second. What?
You're like, who am I?
Wait,
Where
that's
am
a good
I?
question. What?
We have had a long week. We'll just explain for the listeners.
Yes.
I have been home for a day. I traveled last week to Tennessee to spend time with Dixie.
With me.
And with you. And we had a visibility conference, which is something that we teach to other interior designers. So please excuse us. We are coming off a conference and travel and all kinds of peopling.
Fun, exciting stuff. But
Fun, exciting stuff.
I think our brains might have gotten left somewhere.
Yeah, we might be a little slow on the go this morning, but we're going to ramp up right here because one of the things that we did, especially for this podcast, especially for our blog, is we did a room in Dixie's home. Well, we did more than one room.
We did. We
did several spaces.
Yeah.
And Dixie has a lovely home. She recently located there. It's their retirement home. It's their forever home, and it is in the beautiful wooded area of Tennessee, and on 14 acres of land. And the house is gorgeous, and the furnishings are gorgeous, and the design is gorgeous. And oh my gosh, when Dixie showed me her before photos and what the space looks like now.
It was something else, wasn't it?
Huge difference. It was so dark and felt so dark and dreary, a little dreary before.
It was totally dreary. Yeah.
Yeah. And now it's, it just feels more energetic and it's light. And, of course you have a beautiful sense of style and your furnishings and just everything was on point. But there was one thing, and this is what Dixie and I, we have our specialties. All designers have their specialties. And Dixie is great at, it's not even great at, yes, you're great at it. That's of course.
Right.
But not only that, but it's what she likes to do. So what she likes to do is the construction part of a home and the visioning, the dream, the inception. And then going from there to, she likes to put the puzzle together and all the framing and all that stuff that I'm just like, don't even tell me about that. I don't want to know about framing. And it's not sexy. I don't like it. Don't ask me where you want the electrical plug to go or whatever. I don't even think about those things. That my brain doesn't even think that way. That's where Dixie's zone of genius is, and that's what she loves to focus on.
And the part we overlap a little bit because we're both cool dealing with the furniture part of it.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then that's where I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And Dixie and I both, we also worked for several furniture brands, big national retailers. So we both know how to space plan, and you would basically do all the things.
Right.
But really what we have done is we've niched into what we love now, which is what we talk to our other designers about niching. But what I do is I love that last layer. I love after the framing's done. I love to pick out the paint, and I love to pick out the art, and I love to do space planning and all that stuff. And I love to do it all the way until you are going to take that last photo, that final after photo. So what we did.
Were you the one who was saying until you've taken the last picture, it's not done?
I tell my clients all the time because there is, I come in with what we're calling for this, episode, we're calling this episode last layers, right? And it's not done till it's done. That's what I tell my clients. Just stick with me because, there's that time between they've spent maybe $10,000 and we've painted the walls and we've brought the furniture in. But there's no lamps on the side tables. There's no accents on the coffee table. There's the pillows that came with the sofa. but there's no, there's no punch of color, there's no pattern, there's no, maybe you have your expensive Hunter Douglas functioning silhouettes on your window, but you don't have the decorative layer that
the pretty part.
Windows, really look beautiful with a double layer on it. So, that's my zone of genius. And it literally, I am tweaking up until I'm going to take that picture. So that's what I tell my clients. Until I've taken my picture, it's not done. So, just keep trusting me along this path. Right. So that's what we did. We went into Dixie's place and we put in the last layers.
You did.
She had almost all of the last layers. They just hadn't been done. And you know what though, Dixie, that's what happens. My house too, we came in, it was a fixer. You kind of get tired for a little, you know what I mean? It's like you have done painting, you have done major choices, for your home, and you get a little bit of decision fatigue, and then you just kind of you can sit on the sofa and watch TV now. And so you kind of, you know what I mean? It's functioning, it's comfortable, you have a place to eat and sit, and you guys relocated from another state. So you got, all your big pieces back in, and, you had a functioning home again.
And I'm going to have to say, hang on just a second.
Uh-oh. So what we did is, we took some of the Dixie's wish list of what she wanted to do. She had fabric already picked out that she wanted to put on her windows, so we didn't have to worry about that. But there were some things that you didn't have, and there were some things that were in other spaces in your home.
Right. Because I had, kind of like you were saying, I moved in, I put them there, and I just kind of went, that'll work.
Or what you did is you moved in and you put them where you had them before in another house.
I did a lot of that.
Yeah.
And I know better. That's what was cracking me up. When Rachel and I were working on it, I was like, why did I put this here? It doesn't make sense here.
You even said, I put it here because that's where I always put it. Those words even came out of your mouth. Yep. So the first thing we did was we kind of walked through the space and we talked about where you wanted to go with it. You said, I have, curtain panels. I just need to get them up.
Yep.
So we started making a list. Okay, the rods were already installed. We just needed to actually get them up, right? Yep. So that's what we did.
The easiest part of doing the curtains was all that was left.
But it's funner with a friend. And maybe that's one of the strategies. Have a friend, if my mom, I told you, my mom is my partner in crime. When she has something she wants to do, I come over and we get it done. And we are like a hurricane. We come in and we are full of, we're full of inspiration and we're full of energy. That crazy, like manic energy you get. And we are just like, let's get it done. Let's get it done. So we're a perfect pair to do it. And almost like you and I were, we had a reason to get it done. We were motivated. We wanted pictures. We wanted it for the blog. We wanted to share it on our podcast. And we
whipped it out.
We got it several rooms out.
No time.
So we took an inventory of what you had. We took a wish list of what you wanted to feel like. There were a couple suggestions, little tweaks, like, like maybe put some new knobs on this and then you'll be there. In your mind you had, and you still may, refinish this thing and stain it. And it became a project that was so big and so multi-layered. And I came in, I was like, well, maybe if you just put some knobs, it'll give it a new look, and you can still refinish it down the road when inspiration hits, when time hits, but it's still going to give it a finished look. So we did a lot of knob changing in your house, right? And updating.
Oh, yeah.
So that is one of the things. And making her personality show, Dixie is a very quirky person. And she had some fun things up. I found like high up on a shelf.
I don't know if anybody can see.
Yeah.
Here's a perfect example. So over here is just a clear glass head.
And who has a clear glass head in their house? Like not many people do.
Right.
Like that's quirky. Yeah.
And a brain coral. And And of course, my daughter always gives me a hard time and says, shouldn't the brain be in the head? Well, yes, but I like them separately.
I had never even heard of a brain coral, and
Yeah.
Dixie is a brainiac. If you've heard our story, Dixie started out as an engineer and switched into, so these things to me, when I saw them, I was like, oh my gosh. And what is that clock made out of? It's an industrial clock.
Oh, yeah. The clock is a metal I-beam.
It's an I-beam, which is, you know, where Dixie, that's her focus, is on construction. So these are the things that tell her story. And I was like, what are these doing up here? You know, so those are that last layer is where you finish telling your story. You know, that's where people come in and it creates moments. You know, if somebody would come in and go, huh, what's the story behind this brain? You know what I mean? Here, and you're like, oh no, it's actually a piece of coral. It's, you know what I mean? And so, you know, those are the things that I love. Those are the things that give me goosebumps all day long. So that's where your personality shows through in the last layers.
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be expensive. This is where, yes, this is where you experiment a little bit. Right?
Well, that's the fun part about it. If you don't spend a lot of money, then if you decide you didn't like it, it's not that big of a deal. You just swap it out.
You and I went to Hobby Lobby with a bunch of coupons. We had some coupons. We had a basket. We everything we needed was 50% off that day.
Yeah, except for one thing. And on that one thing, I got to use my little 50% or 40, whatever it is, coupon.
Yes.
It was perfect.
We hit Hobby Lobby. We hit Target. And we went to TJ Maxx too, but I don't think we found anything there. But those are great places for last looks. If you have a Home Goods, it's a great place. You already had accent pillows and stuff like that. So we just needed like a lamp here and some succulents, and we just needed little tiny fill in the gap things.
So a couple of places that you didn't mention that I know you go to all the time are like, and my brain has just completely quit on the word, but thrift stores and
flea markets.
Flea markets, that was it. Yard sales sometimes, if you're a yard sailor and you enjoy it. Hit it up. Let me tell you, the power of paint. A can of spray paint goes.
You did some vases. You have some vases that you, I'm like, oh my God, I love the color in this. And you're like, it wasn't that color when I bought it.
It was ugly when I got it.
But you love the shape. There were two vases, that big white one you have that I love, the kind of gourdy shape to that. And then you have
just a little bit of texture to it.
Yes. So, you know, not expensive. The other thing I wanted to talk about, it doesn't only bring personality, but it brings life in, and that is books. And Dixie is a huge collector. She has a huge collection of art and interior design books, which are perfect for coffee tables, side tables, accent tables. Her book collection is ridiculous. Not only that, your interior design magazine collection is amazing too.
It's a little crazy. Like I said,
you can actually see it. If you're listening on iTunes, you can't. But if you go to YouTube, she has a stack. She's basically created a side table of her interior design magazines, and it brings in texture and color, and of course, again, tells the story.
And if I need inspiration, I can always just go open one.
Exactly. We always need inspiration.
Heck yeah.
So one thing is also, I talk about when you go into a shelter magazine, no matter whether you're talking about 8100 or Architectural Digest or, wallpaper or, something kind of industry related, or your BHG, Better Homes and Gardens, your HGTV magazine, you're always going to see live plants, bowls of fruit. It just says that somebody lives here. And as a photo stylist and a catalog stylist, those are the things that I'm always bringing in. And when I'm shooting for my clients for reveal, not only reveal day, but shooting for my portfolio, those are the things that I bring in as well. And if you don't have a green thumb, what we did was we went to Hobby Lobby, and they have the most realistic succulents.
Succulents are gorgeous.
And we got like this little, it almost looked like a wood cutting bowl.
Almost like a birch.
And, you know, we got the faux succulents, and then we just added moss. Yeah. We filled it in with moss, and it was a beautiful, we'll show it on the blog. We also got some little planters of ready-made succulents, and, you know, those are little pieces that were on little, you know, book stacks and stuff like that. But it really,
okay, total side note. I think the reason I like succulents so much is because they already look fake.
They do.
They like the real ones look fake. So the fake ones
look real.
Real.
Exactly. It's so perfect. And I was telling Dixie that I do a lot of fresh succulents in my home, but succulents don't do well in homes. They are not meant to be in homes. They are meant to be in full sun. So mine are kind of like always, you know, I'll, you know, plug in new ones, but they eventually kind of die off. But what I do is I keep an inventory of faux succulents, and what I'll do is I'll plug in. And then when the whole thing's gone, I will, you know, refresh and re-plug in new ones again. So that was really fun, Dixie. Thank you so much for letting me come in and style your home. And it was an honor to do that with you. It really was.
And I have to say, just having somebody help push me, even as a designer, even knowing Rachel didn't do much other than go, let's get this done. Mm-hmm. And
I put the fire. You walked in front of me and I put the fire under your bottom.
You did. And
it doesn't look like Rachel came in and styled your home. It looks like you. Yeah. It looks, you know, and that's what I do with all of my clients. That's why on my portfolio, you're not going to see a home that looks, you know, it doesn't look like Rachel right. over and over and over again, because I bring out the stuff that my clients own and I celebrate it. And so that's basically what the whole purpose of this, you know, podcast episode is, to bring out the stuff, tell your story, and celebrate what you already own.
Absolutely.
Good place to end it, huh?
I think, yeah, it's perfect.
If they want more, we are going to have a blog post out.
Yes.
We're going to have some photos.
Mm-hmm. So head over to designandstylepodcast.com. Click on the Design and Style 2 button there, and it'll take you straight to where you can actually watch the video of this podcast if you would like. We will have show notes, and you'll be able to access the blog too. So that is designandstylepodcast.com.
All right. We'll see you next week, or talk to you next week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.